Welcome to the podcast, Alexandra. Super nice to have you here today.
Hi, Eden. Happy to be here too.
Awesome. So, for some context, we connected over some AI automation related conversations before, and we thought we'd dive into a little bit of um, kind of like the shift that we're seeing with AI automation systems, code versus no code, some of the different like services and systems that you can build using AI, and kind of like how to create a business out of AI systems. So, how does that sound?
It sounds good. There is a lot to say, and I think it's present and the future, and yes, so
Awesome.
good subject.
So, yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super excited. So, I would love to hear a little bit about your kind of arc going from a software developer into more no code solutions, but then you also sounds like are using kind of like a mix of like code and no code and using some of the platforms that you're using. So would love to kind of hear like why did you make that transition and what's like really enticing you about the sort of no code like low code solutions. Um, so yeah, go ahead.
Well, I dive into AI because I really think it's the most exciting thing actually, and where there is ton of opportunities. So, and then I join some communities. I join Liam Oatley Accelerator, and of course as developer, I wanted to learn everything. And it was frustrating because I saw some people that come from business and marketing going faster and using these no-code tools. So I begin to dive into that. And well, I prefer code to be honest, but it's good to go fast. And finally, my philosophy is use the tools. We want to build things. The interest is to build things, and as soon as the tool doesn't make the product less scalable or whatever, use what it's more efficient. But sometimes having no code is for me is a nonsense. So the best is the platform that allows you to use code when you need it and no code when you need it to go faster. So it's a efficiency tool, but not always, because now you can generate code. So when you know how to code and you can generate it, you can go very fast too. So this is where I am now.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really exciting and something that we talked about, which I think is interesting, is a lot of people are getting into this space from business and sales and marketing, and those are like really important. That's how you scale something like this, but also like then like the preferred tools are like Zapier and Make.com and these sorts of things that don't have as much custom code solutions. So your background coming from software development, tell me a little bit about like how are you actually integrating code with no code? What does that look like? And sort of like what are you able to accomplish or build when you kind of use a mix of low code and no code as opposed to just solely no code?
Okay, so first about the tools. So I begin to look at make.com, and quickly I was very frustrated because you cannot have code at any point. So it's nice, but as soon as you need to manipulate data, it's a nonsense. And the no code tools that they give you are more complicated than doing it with code. And so I was searching for a tool where I can integrate tool inside Make, and I discovered PipeDream, and I totally switched on PipeDream. So PipeDream has more than 2,000 applications available, so it has more than Make. It has pre-built actions, so you can use it as no code, but you can have code everywhere, and you have an AI that can generate it. And even if I'm a coder, I'm uh, I'm generating it all the time. I'm publishing a video today about that. So it's really great. And then for any of these tools, we always have webhooks. So as I was specializing in front end. I ticket front end websites and things like that. So I can totally integrate an automation. And let's imagine, for example, I did an automation for sales. You come from sales, and so you have a sales call, for example, and you need to have the transcript and then to have a prompt to extract the value. For example, what are the priceable items, and then you can connect that with a knowledge database to make retrieval augmented generation and compare, the priceable item to this base. And so this automation can spit out proposal directly, so it make spare insane time in sales, and you can put it in your email. Okay, so but we can also analyze that. So for example, I can take the API, take an API from there, taking all this data and connect it to, for example, a Next.js application in React, and build a dashboard that analyze all the data and all that. So we can build dashboard with manipulate the data and represent it in a front end, or build a user interface where the user can enter the data and use the low-code tools in the middle for efficiency. But I will always choose tools that are scalable and where I can have code, because I don't want the limitations that the pure no-code tools bring. So that's my point.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I kind of heard you saying like you can integrate webhooks, you can get queries from users, but it actually is going to look way nicer if you're like building some sort of dashboard for them, where
Yes,
there's
of course.
some way to actually view that data. Because like personally, as someone who doesn't have software development experience, most of my dashboards are in like Airtable interfaces
Yeah,
or like Google Looker Studio or something like that, and they don't look good at all. And it's just like really hard to get like a really nice user experience on the front end side of things just by using like make.com and Airtable and all of these. I think they're like really powerful in terms of like doing what you want them to do, but I can see how like having no front end interface can be a sticking point for some clients. And I imagine that if you were to go to a client and actually like build them that interface, it's going to feel like a much more high ticket, like white
exactly,
glove service essentially, than just like say,
exactly.
here's your Airtable base.
Yes, that's different cases, but uh, that's why there is collaboration, and we have all different skills too. But yes, definitely, being able
Totally.
to do a front end, you can sell iTickets services, so it's much better, and you don't have limitation. Principally, I think I learned code because I began with no code. 12 years ago, I began with WordPress. It was no code too, and themes and all that. And I think I asked myself why I have dived into code. I didn't expect that. And first is because I'm a creative, so code is very creative. But I think the deeper reason is because I hate limitations in life, in everything. I hate limitations. And so the only way to not have limitation in what you want to build is to master code. So
So I have a couple
that's my
questions for
point.
you. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I have a couple questions. One is one is a little bit off on the AI systems route, but while we're on the code conversation, I would love to hear like where do you think like writing code is heading as AI is getting better? Do you think we're going to have applications where we'll just like put a query in and it will write all the code for us, or like I'm curious like what your like daily workflow looks like writing code. Are you like in Claude or ChatGPT writing the code and then pasting it in Pipedream, or is it all happening in Pipedream, or like kind of what's your workflow for adding code into your systems that you're building?
There is different things. If it's in Pipedream, there is an AI integrated, which is awesome because it's trained on the documentation and also on the documentation all of this application. But of course, I know code, so I know what I do. I can understand what it's doing, and if it make mistake, I can fix it. And by the way, I plan in my YouTube channel to show non-coders how they can learn the basic of code to use this. And then there is when I build, for example, something 100% in code. So I'm using Cursor and I'm using it long before the hype. And since not so long time, I think I'm almost not writing code. Well, a little bit sometimes when I have to correct things, but I give it instructions. There is a file named Cursor rule, so I can tell it which style of code I want, etc., what I want to build. I have been using V0 too. So for example, now I'm rebuilding the website of a friend which is also in the AI space, which Alejo, which has a YouTube channel too about voice, and he wanted to integrate VAPI blocks, which are beautiful spheres, that you pinch on it and it begin speaking, connected to a VAPI agent, to a voice agent. But his website was in Webflow, and so it was a nightmare to integrate. So finally, I'm rebuilding his website with Next.js, and I'm using components from Eternity, which is a beautiful library, and I'm doing everything in Cursor, asking what I want, and I'm connecting also it to a CMS, Storyblock, which is visual, so you can manage the website from there. Of course, I know what I'm doing, so I can intervene when something is wrong. But basically, I'm barely not writing code. I'm just directing. You become like a maestro. You know how to play music, etc. But you are directing, so you go much faster. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I can imagine. I have not started getting into writing code or anything like that because I would not be able to understand when things are going wrong and why. But that sounds really interesting. I also built my website in Webflow, and it seems really aesthetic in terms of like how it looks. But if I were to want to add a bunch of like different functionalities in there and like different forms and webhooks,
And
I would
here's your
not know where to start.
limited, and it
Yeah,
becomes
exactly.
more complicated. So yeah,
So
that's the thing.
So it seems like you're very well connected in this space, going through Liam Otley's program, going through all these different programs. I'd love to hear kind of like what's been your experience with trying to scale an AI agency, and like what are the specific services that like you feel called to offer, or that feel like they're what you're noticing is like patterns of like what people are offering and seems to be valuable in the market.
Okay, so it has not been easy coming from development because I arrived in Liam's community, the premium one, which is awesome because there is really, really very interesting people and I make a lot of connections there. But yes, most people who come from background in business go faster because they sell, they know how to outreach. I don't know anything about that. I can be good at sales because I'm a people person. But what I love is to create, etc. So it's taking me more time. So I made a lot of connections and network because it's my nature too, and also because I'm an in-person person. So I just begin my YouTube channel. It's the only way to be in person for many people. So I'm publishing my second video today about PipeDream, and I'm beginning cold email too with somebody who make a service done for you, etc. Okay, it's more expensive, but so I will have clients and be able to sell. What I see, I think there is a lot of people succeeding with voice agents. And everything about sales, I think lead generation, sales, etc. seems, of course, everybody needs that. Everybody needs to make money, so money
For
comes
sure.
from lead generation and sales. And also, it's what I'm learning because I need it for me. So it's dog fooding.
Mhm.
But my real dream is to build SaaS applications. So I hope to create my agency, make business, have people for outreach, sales, etc., and take time for me to pass time on my SaaS. I'm building a SaaS application that uses AI too, but I cannot pass all my time on it, and I have a lot of ideas because I'm a creative mind. So it's what I love to do. So it's exhausting because it's a non-stop work because you are creating, learning, finding how to outreach, how to do marketing, how to do sales, but you are learning business. So it's a learning path.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I totally get that like disparity between like the business side of things and like the maker side of things. It feels like a very different way of operating. So what I heard you
And
say
there
is
is,
like,
there is, I say there is no code tools, but there is no marketing tools. And the other thing also, it's marketing come first. So I cannot build or sell or do things that I know how to do before doing the outreach. So I know this is the part I have to to work on, then
Maybe
the doors open.
maybe pretty soon there will be no marketing tools, no
Build,
low
I know
effort
somebody
marketing.
who build, yes, all the lead generation system with by programming. So in a way we can also build an automation that do all the outreach for us, and that's what I plan to do too. So yeah.
Totally. So you're starting a SaaS, and potentially the route you're wanting to go is like a SaaS agency, if I heard you right. Like people, you'll get leads and clients, and you'll have like the systems down where you'll basically just stand up different SaaS products for people.
There is two things. I think the agency side, what I realize it's not what I was doing before. I was doing ticket marketing websites, etc. So it was always different, etc. Very custom, and I think in the AI automation agency space, we are between products and service. We productize services to replicate them, etc. And then I think if something take off and has a lot of demand, we can create it as a SaaS. So I want to have certain offers to sell. And in the other side, I'm already building a little SaaS project. It's about travel itineraries for travel bloggers, because I have a friend who's a travel blogger and they're selling that, and it takes a lot of time to craft that. So I'm building an automation, but it's all in code and it's quite advanced for that. So that's totally separate from the agency side. But by selling agency services and replicate them, I think a lot of ideas of SaaS can come and can be validated from there. So we can go from one to the other side. But I love the SaaS thing because I love creating things. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I really like that approach that you were just talking about, where it's like you sell the services, and then as you see like what people want and like what is actually really valuable, then you kind of convert it into a SaaS product over time, like as you're like productizing what that the delivery and like customer process of that is.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah, I've definitely seen the voice agents becoming more popular. I'm a little bit hesitant to get into it, just because the outbound voice agent feels a little unethical to me, to be honest. Like to just build an agent that can do 1,000 cold calls an hour. Like I don't know if I want to actually contribute to that world, you know. But the inbound voice agents are really interesting to me, where it's like receiving calls and being able to like understand a person's business and redirect them to the right person. That seems really interesting to me. But yeah, I mean, it seems like new potential services and offers are being generated like every single month, really, in this space. Like
Yes,
we have
it's
voice
quite
agents, we
overwhelming.
have AI marketing systems, AI sales systems. Agents are really coming onto the scene strong,
Yes.
and obviously there's a lot of different things to learn. And so something I've been sitting with, which I would love your perspective on, is like how do we actually make decisions in this landscape, right? How do we actually figure out what is important to work on and actually like focus and like get into flow state, you know, really building and developing like some sort of systems here, as opposed to just trying to do everything and learn all of the
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
millions of new tools that are coming out every single year, you know? And so I'm curious how you've been thinking about like how do you make decisions in this space? How do you choose to work on one thing over the other in your experience?
Yeah, it's not easy, especially in the beginning. And as a developer, I wanted to learn everything, so it's impossible. But I think yes, you have to stay as developer. So stay focused on what you want to build, and perhaps tools, for example, in development like the OpenAI API and things. I was talking ho- to React developers how to learn AI, because even in development they don't know AI, and so it's and they think that is machine learning and data science and all that, but at the end is just playing with APIs. And so yes, for example, yes, seeing what is happening with the OpenAI APIs, function calling. Finally, what are agents? Agents are function calling. They are calling function and and connecting one with the other. It's not magic, you know. It feels magic, but and also, for example, agent is also a bit of a buzzword because I realized I was fascinated by agents in the beginning. And then while I'm building this SaaS, for example, I realized that most of the time you have a sequential process. It's you you don't need, very often something to let AI decide what to do. If you can control it yourself, it's better, because AI can make
Yeah.
mistakes. So it can feel magical, etc. Oh, I'm building an agent that decide what to do, etc. Yes, but it can make more mistakes. So the more you can control it, you can control the flow, and AI is like a spice, because at the end, it's a tool, but use it when you need it, and use it at the last moment. The more important is data, and AI, you feed it with data. So because some people say, yes, no, but AI will make mistakes, etc. Yes, if you do it, it's just ChatGPT, but you have to feed it to make RAG, to give him data, to orient it to. If not, it will. If not, it's a mess. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. And yes, and then choose, yes, the tools that are really good for you. And being in these communities helps too, because you're with like-minded people that do real business and not just clickbait and there is this and this. No, it's focusing on the right things, and on what you want to build. But be aware, have the eyes open of what is happening in the world, because it's, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a delicate balance of like building the systems and like understanding where's the data coming from, how do I want to format the data, like creating JSON objects from the data and passing those and stuff like that.
That is very easy with JavaScript. That is very easy with JavaScript. It's two lines. It's much more easy than with the no-code tools. The thing is, you see everywhere, oh, not a single line of code. Like code is going to bite you. No, code is going to free you. That's the truth. And at the end, when you have to think, oh, I have to make a JSON object extra, you already are thinking like a coder. But they give you tools that are not as practical as code. So if you just learn basic JavaScript function like array functions and things like that, then you understand how it works, and it's much easier. And AI can generate it for you. It cannot generate it the no code, but it can generate it the code because it knows about it. And it's used universally. So actually, it's becoming easier. It's easier than no code.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like there's a couple like fundamental skills, It's like what I heard you saying is essentially that there's a bunch of SaaS products that are AI like related coming online, and you would be completely overwhelmed if you tried to learn about every AI SaaS product that came to the market, because most of them are just front end interfaces with API calls in the back end, essentially going to OpenAI. So if you really learn like the core skills of how to call like OpenAI and Claude's API, and then you learned how to like do some stuff with vector databases and do some like basic code
Exactly.
modules in Pipedream and manipulate data and do some RAG stuff, you'd probably be ahead of 99% of people, because that's what most of these SaaS products are being built on, is like these core functions. And so like at the end of the day, unless you want to be paying $2,000 a month to subscribe to 200 different SaaS products, like you could literally just build any of these SaaS products yourself pretty simply in things like Pipedream or NAN or something like that. Um, but then you would be able to build it so much more custom, because it'd be like, it feels to me like there's like a logic here of like, what system do I want to build? Why do I want to build it? What is the objective? Where's the data coming from? What do I want to do with the data? How do I want to pass that data into OpenAI's API and stuff like this? And it almost sounds to me like there's like these core skills of like building these systems, which I kind of like just mentioned that you've talked about. And then there's like the business, which is getting people in the door and showing them, like being able to describe to them, like this stuff feels technical to most people probably. Like if you started talking about RAG and JavaScript and APIs and JSON and vector databases, like it would be way over people's heads. And so it's almost like how do you it's like you understand these basic skills, and then you can build 99% of like systems, and then you also have to like switch and figure out how to frame it and like why is this thing valuable for people, which is like a completely different skill set, like marketing and sales. And so I'm sure many business owners have faced this exact problem that we're talking about right now. But it seems really interesting to me how you're like starting to approach this like as a software developer, being super technical and understanding how to do all this stuff with Pipe Dream, and actually like saying like it's actually not as hard as like if I were to learn Pipe Dream tomorrow, I could probably pick it up and use Claude or OpenAI to like write me some JavaScript inside of Pipe Dream or something like that. But then it's like there's like this balance between creating that into some productized service and actually like being able to be really competent at building it.
Yes, but about yes, we don't. There is a technical part how to build it and how you sell it. I think you don't have to sell AI because AI is a tool. It's like you say, oh, I'm going to build it with JavaScript or Python or etc. The client doesn't mind about that. He just wants to solve a problem. So I think the
Right.
thing is to understand uh, the problem, the people's business problem, and to
Right.
craft a solution to solve it. Whatever it use, if it use, sometimes you make automations that doesn't use AI. It's not
Mhm.
always the case. It doesn't have to be always the case. It's,
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
so it's use it. I say it's a spice, so put it when you need it,
That
and yes, to go with the other food, etc. One skill that I think that is very interesting to have, and I'm learning that now, is scraping. Scraping.
scraping.
Yes.
How are you doing that? I'm very curious.
For the moment, I'm learning, so I want really to learn. I bought a course really to go deep with coding, with scraping. There is tools like Apify that are really great. For example, the video I released today is about scraping Google Maps with Apify and getting the reviews and summarizing them, etc. But for example, for the SaaS I'm building, which is about travel, uh, there is the travel APIs are very close, so it's very difficult to have the data. But I didn't want to use Apify because Apify, most of the actors are maintained by community. And so if something changes in the HTML and the code, then this actor can be down. So it's okay if it's a tool for me or even for, and I can fix it. But if I build a SaaS that is used by thousands of people and I depend on a developer that has built something to scrape and I have to wait him to fix it, I cannot allow that. So I need to have the control of that. So that's one thing. Then I use the SERP API, for example, to get flights, but it's an official one, so it will not break. Um, and there is Oxylabs. I made posts for Oxylabs about they have a new tool for scraping with AI to build your scraper with AI and the structure,
Hmm.
etc. Well, there is many tools, but I really want to learn it properly because I think in the era of AI, data is queen. You know, it's really the food for AI, and so being able to scrape, I think it's a major skill to have.
Totally. I didn't realize that Oxy Labs did a scraper as well. This is something that's really interesting to me because I currently use Phantom Buster and Apify for most of the scraping needs. But like you said, it's a third party. I'm paying them to scrape. And it's not, if a million people are also using that same scraper, there's a better chance that it will break, and you don't really want to build robust systems off of it. And so it's like what I've heard is essentially that like right now like custom code scraping is if it's based on like how a website is built, and so if the website gets updated it might break the scraper. So what I'm really interested in it is how's AI going to augment that? Is AI going to be able to build a scraper that is like more resilient essentially, so that like whenever something changes on the website it understands and it like adapts, so to speak? Like let's say like the code changes on the website, can the scraper still work essentially? um, but I
I don't
really
know if
wanted.
On
before.
Oxylab, yes, you have this Oxy Copilot where you can, and it's free. You can go and create the scraper and then also the schema and all that.
Hmm.
So, but I don't know if it will change. If the website change, I think you have to fix it yourself if it
That
breaks.
makes sense.
But it's better if you maintain it. And also, I think there is money to make, by building scrapers because you can sell data and get data and do many things with it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's almost like data is king. Data is like what's becoming more powerful, but it almost feels like it's also becoming less powerful because it's becoming easier to get. So it's almost like I wonder what you think about like data's like becoming. It's almost like what's most valuable is being able to orchestrate all of the pieces together, right? Like the AI system in itself, anyone can put that together by watching a tutorial. The data, like it's getting easier to get the data from like various different scrapers, but when you are really good at combining like high quality scraping with high quality AI systems, then like that is like that full system is almost what becomes really valuable because you're not just getting the data, but then you're doing something with it in your ability to solve like really tangible problems for businesses is probably a lot higher if you can do both of those things at the same time, essentially.
I think yes, it's really what is happening not only on software but in everything what is happening with AI. It's AI is replacing all what is basic, but it will not replace all what is human. The way of thinking, the creativity, and I think it will favorize creative people. So you have a very good example about AI image generation. So my life partner is a genius on that. He's really doing things. He's doing portraits that he has even tricked Claude, with portrait. Claude was thinking that this photo were real photography, but they were AI generated. But you don't see a lot of things like that. But he's an artist, and so his creativity and culture and taste has translated as to AI, and and I think this is true for everything. It's people who are creative, brilliant, have brilliant ideas, etc., will be favorized by AI because AI will give them the tools to create their ideas faster.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, and in the end, so we will be augmented by AI. But if you have nothing to augment, you will not augment either. so, so if you stay on the basic, if you a writer, a marketer, or whatever, or a coder, and you just do the basic things that AI can do, the syntax, the basic writing, then AI is replacing you.
Hmm.
But if you are a
Yeah.
thinker, if you are creative, and you want to, and then AI will augment you. And
Hmm.
it's the thing that's going very fast. If I take, for example, with code, okay, now I'm using cursor and I'm asking it to do things, but before the cursor and the code editors, people were writing on the notepad and things like that, and that was super complicated. Or now we have calculators, and before that people were calculating by hand, etc. It's just, but it's good. It's a human creativity and ideas stay. It's just going faster, but AI is
Hmm.
going very fast, and everything is moving very very fast. So we have to adapt to that, but I think it really favorizes creativity because AI cannot
Hmm.
replicate that. It can help to brainstorm things, but then it's the human part that will take over and make something really interesting with it.
Hmm.
So yes, gluing all this part and thinking a system, this is the real skill at the end.
Hmm. Yeah, that's that. I really enjoy that perspective. It feels very true to me that it's like the ability to implement ideas is getting easier, but you still need to have the ideas. And
Ideas,
the AI can
yes,
generate ideas, but not all of them are good ideas. And you are
exactly.
the only one that can have the discernment and the understanding of which idea is actually good and relevant to work on, so you're not like spending a bunch of time on like implementing ideas that actually suck. And so it's almost like, yeah, it's almost like something that it made me think about is it feels like AI is making it more valuable to be like a generalist than a specialist, right? Rather than just being a copywriter or just being a software developer or just being in sales or something like this. If you have an idea for a business or something you want to bring to life, it's almost like you have to take all of the roles, but AI helps you implement all of the roles better. And so it's like, okay, how do we do this part of the business, marketing? How do we do sales? How do we do implementation or productize this thing? And it's like the AI can help you in every single one of those domains, but you still have to be able to kind of see the system and work with the system and like build the system, or basically kind of how you were saying it, like you still have to have the idea and ideate and understand what you're building, and then you have it build it essentially, which feels really interesting to me. And yeah, and what else feels really interesting to me is being in this space is the word AI and agent, like you said, is just they're becoming buzzwords. Everyone's using the word AI or agent. But like you said, as someone, as yourself who's actually building these things, and what I've been hearing is like, it sounds like a lot of times you don't need agents if you can just build the system as like a workflow in a tool
Yeah,
essentially, or you can just build the sequence of events that you want to happen. And the same thing with like AI. It's like every software product has the word AI in it now, but really it's just like an API call that like is not that difficult to set up, right? And so it's almost like, yeah, it's just really interesting to me how when you really dive into it, there's just agents aren't always they're not always the best thing to build for the specific
yes,
use case, and AI is really just, if you understand how to use API calls, then you pretty much can build AI into any system. And like you said, you don't need to overly use it in every, like there's a lot of
exactly.
reasons, there's a lot of systems where you actually don't need it at all. It's only like in the sort of idea generation or system, like there's only specific use cases where it's really valuable to have the AI in there. Otherwise, you're just building really like software, like coded solutions or no coded solutions with that have a sequence of events that happen.
Yes, just use it, AI when it's really needed and an agent when it's really needed, not just to make magic. Oh, look, my agent takes his decisions, but then he can make a total mess. So if you
Uh-huh.
can accompany it and, the more you can, do it. And then if it's necessary and interesting to let it decide, then you make what is called an agent.
Yeah.
It's a word after all. It's
Yeah, and I want to circle back around to one of your points that like in order to like pitch this stuff to a business, you're not telling them like the word AI is just such a buzzword, but really at the end of the day, you're just solving problems better.
exactly.
And
It's
it's
like
really
it's like I'm a software
really
developer and I say, oh, I'm going to use React and Node and Tailwind to build, and so it will be awesome. And the business owner don't know about that. He just want to have a really nice interface or whatever to solve a problem. So that's not the word to use. That's your internal, kitchen. It's, or if you make a cake, you don't say, how you prepare it and what you put inside. No, it tastes good. Okay, that's
Mhm.
fine. So you have to understand the problem to solve the problem, but the best way possible. If it needs AI, it needs AI. If it doesn't need, it doesn't need. But unless the business owner asks for it, it's not
Mhm.
it's not his business after all. It's
Yeah, that's really interesting because I just being in this like sort of rabbit hole of AI automation, that being its own sort of going through its own sort of hype cycle where AI automation is getting really popular, and it feels to me like the big blind spot of AI automation is that you use AI for everything, even when you don't need it, and it's almost like a sometimes I see like these people building various like AI automation systems, but it's not clear to me what problem is being solved, or if this is actually a real problem or one that was just generated in order to build a system for it, you know? And so it's
Yeah.
really interesting to me to think about like AI automations are valuable, but like to start with first principles and to start with what is this problem something that someone actually has and would actually be valuable to solve, or is this a problem that's not valuable to solve, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's yes, it's like in the SaaS world, you know, you have to begin with the problem and not for the solution. So oh, I want to create that, yes, but if nobody, if it's not solving, you know, a real problem, then nobody will buy it. Now you
Totally.
can, if you want to have fun, you can build it, but just don't pour AI everywhere just to put AI.
Totally. Awesome. Well, feeling the call starting to wrap up a little bit, I'm curious if you have anything else that you want to say, or if you want to direct people to your work in any way.
Yes, an idea that was coming to me while we are talking, it's about this creativity and all that. And if you think about that, the big painters like Michelangelo in the Renaissance, as apprentices, they were not doing the painting, but they are the masters. So it's the same. We can use AI, but we can create awesome thing. You know, it's our creativity that create the thing, and AI as the assistants. So yes, so I have my YouTube channel, Alexandra Spalato. It's Alexandra Spalato. So you can put your link in
Yeah.
in this
It'll,
video.
yep.
I have an agency while I'm building the website, still named Cuts AI. And yes, you can find me also on LinkedIn, on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll drop the links in the description for anyone listening.
Great. It was
Awesome.
great speaking with you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alexandra. Super nice speaking with you.
Thanks to you, and talk soon.
Take
Bye.
care.